How we doing tonight? Sorry about everything, guys. Let me get us here where we can see who we are here to talk with tonight. There we go. So tonight we've got Ryan Celli from KRC Kybers here. We're gonna pretty much just gonna have an informal chat, just kind of talk to him, see how things are going, maybe get some hints on some things moving forward that he's got coming down the pipeline, look at a couple of the Kybers that's been released here lately, and then go from there. So, how's it going, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself, bud?
Let me see here. Make sure that we're getting audio from you. There we go. All right, because I didn't want the same problem we had last time where we didn't have any sound coming from you for a while, so wanted to make sure that we had that. Looks like we got JB Hemphill in here with us, chatting. So we'll hopefully take some questions and stuff a little bit later on to see how these, what everybody's got going on, what they want to talk to you about, and everything. So let's start out. I mean, the big thing that's come out here recently that you've kind of teased us is this new private reserve. So I'm just going to jump right into that. Give us a rundown. What are we talking about? Private reserve.
Private reserve boils down to, I get a lot of customer requests. A lot of people who are looking to have, I'm looking at the wrong side of my phone. Let me get the right side here. First time in show business. We get a lot of people who want Kybers and are customer requests, and we love to do them. Problem is, when we do them, you have to pour in about a 5 to 10 range, of at least to make sure you get one that works, but also because you have so much resin and everything, it's just impractical to do one Kyber pour. So when we do this, we get leftovers. I've been sitting on some for a while. We decided the best way to do them, rather than melt them down or whatever, was to make them into a private reserve where people who like to enjoy collecting Kybers can have access to some pretty limited things that we either are not ever going to make a wide release of, or are not going to do it for a very long time, like years.
Gotcha.
So this gives people an opportunity to do it, and we do it at a very good price for the private reserve.
Great. I don't want to have a bunch of feedback coming through my microphone from everything, so give me a second. I'm going to plug my headset in here real quick, or my earbuds, so that way I can hear you without having to worry about getting some echo and stuff going on.
Works for me.
There we go. Now I can hear you, and we don't have to worry about any double audio feedback stuff going on. So, talking about the private reserve, I know you've sent me a few that have been special ones that you've put out that kind of go in that private reserve, and I know you've kind of hinted towards those being part of that. And I've got a couple of those we're going to look at tonight here in just a little bit. As well as your most recent release, I believe was the Sith Revealed.
Yep.
That is available on your Etsy page for anybody to be able to pick up, right?
Yep, that one's right on there.
Beautiful. I don't know who all we have. I mean, it shows we've got 4 people watching right now. I know it's not a lot, but I do see JB on here. Anybody else that's on, if you wanted to you guys want to start throwing some questions up on the chat that can ask Ryan, that you guys might be interested in finding out and stuff. Feel free to go ahead and throw them up in the comments section there in the live feed, so that way we can kind of have something more than just the two of us chatting. So
right, pick it up a little bit.
Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, I think you mentioned to me earlier today when we were kind of talking about the live stream tonight, that you have a anniversary coming up, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yes, on December, I think it's 28th. I got to double check. That's the anniversary of the Chosen Clan, our first chipped Kyber. So we will have been only making Kybers for 1 year somehow. It feels like much longer.
Wow. So first year done, almost in the bag. Got a couple weeks left,
Yeah.
but I tell you what, one of the things that I've really noticed, comparing what you're doing there at KRC versus some of the other crafters, is your products, your creations, your Kybers, they are pretty much just about forever available. I know most of the crafters out there, they have, a limited run or a series, that they're going to do of, however many, 100, 200, whatever. A couple have some open editions on a few different Kybers, but pretty much everything that you put out there that you've made is available at any given point. Is that correct?
That's correct. Outside of the Living Force Kyber, which sold out yesterday, the final one.
Okay.
Now, on that one, I do have artist proofs available down the line in the future. So if someone comes along and gets into collecting and really wants to get one, I have a select few of those I set aside so that down the road no one gets price gouged trying to get one of them. Because that's something I really wanted to make sure never happened with any of my Kybers. I never wanted to see the value of them be ridiculous. I never wanted to see anyone ask for a savvy saber worth for one of my work, because I love what we do and what me and my kiddos make, but I can think of better ways to spend your money.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys have made a lot of designs over the last year. I mean, basically, if you guys look at my display that's behind my head that I'm pointing to right here, this entire side right here, all of that are just stuff from KRC. I mean, literally, and I have to make an entire new addition to that display so that I can add more to it, because, I mean, I'll be honest, I've got handfuls of Kybers that I've gotten from you that I don't have any place to put right now without going in and taking off stuff off the other side here where I've got stuff from other crafters. So, I mean, you have put out more Kybers, more creations, more designs than any of the other crafters out there. And some of them, if you combine them, multiple crafters, you still have more put out than, and I mean, that's to say a lot, for you guys only being, in business, I guess you could say, for, a year now.
Never drop your saber. This is your life, Obi-Wan. Yeah. I remember when we were starting early on, we had a lot coming out. Someone mentioned to me, you're going to burn out on ideas. I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life. There was that hiatus, I'd say, in my late teens into my mid to late 20s, where I didn't really do much with Star Wars. But as a kid, I read every single Legends book there is. I mean, if you look behind me, these are my reference material on these shelves over here. And those are all mostly visual guides, reference guides, but mostly from the Legends series. And I love that type of stuff. So there's a wealth of knowledge out there that you can always pull from. And it's hard to contain ourselves. We have ideas. Because right now, we've got a couple we're working on. We're having to restock right now. Excuse me. We have just been blessed with orders and have been in restock mode constantly for the last few weeks here. Every night is a pour of a previous one because we offer so many. So that does limit our ability to, add newer ones, which is where the private reserve comes in too when we don't get a chance to fully expand onto the next one. But the way I look at it is I'm not looking to sell every Kyber to a customer. I know there's some that are going to want every Kyber, and I love, folks like you and others. But the idea is I want to have a custom Kyber out there for every person. Because every day someone's going to the park. Every day someone's building a saber, So I want them to go online, see one, and that speaks to them. It may be one that you or me or, hell, I, as a maker, might not even care for. But it blows up. I've seen that happen. Once I put up where I'm like, I don't really care for it. And it becomes a big seller. And, you know,
Mm-hmm.
people love it. And they love I love hearing the stories of people. They find one and they connect with it. And they incorporate it into their cosplay or a gift for their kids. I've got a
Mm-hmm.
couple that are going out for Star Cruiser announcements for kiddos here at Christmas, which I'm so jealous over.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the fun of it, because we can constantly do that with ideas. And we have a few coming out. I wanted to do it. We didn't have time because there's been a supply issue lately. Getting our equipment, we just finally got a lot of it in. But we've got a Ghostbusters theme one we're going to be doing here. I think it's going to be pretty fun. Kiddos love the new movie, so did I. I'm a huge fan. So, you know, I love Crossing.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you got to go see it. I've seen it twice. I had to screen it for them first, you know, make sure it wasn't too scary.
Right.
But, you know, there's stuff like that. We love crossing genres, and there's so much out there to do. And it's a rich lore, and, you know, being able to get the sand from Tatooine. I didn't realize how little sand each Kyber needs, and I've got 20 pounds of the 24 left. So, you know, you might see one or two more. Who knows?
Wow. Yeah, that's a good amount of sand there, and I mean that is one thing that I've noticed that you've been able to do is incorporating that sand in there, and it kind of gives it a different semblance, you know, because I mean when you break out a Kyber, and I'm gonna show one just on screen real quick here on my camera, and we'll look at it a little bit deeper on the Kyber cam here in a minute, but is one of them that you put out. I believe it was how did you call it? I think it's called the Founders Kyber.
Yep.
That you sent, and it was one of the first ones that you did. And I think if I remember right, you said it was kind of an accident. It didn't come out the way you wanted it to, so it kind of falls into that private reserve, and you know it is different. But that's the thing that you know for your big hardcore collectors like myself, and you know I'm gonna throw some names out there, you know Jackson Miller that I've seen you know out on the pages that are just he was been grabbing up a bunch of stuff, but I know he you know he's had some situations going on, but I mean he's grabbed a bunch of your stuff. I know JB Hemphill's grabbed a bunch of your stuff. Will Windsor and some other guys, you know, that I've seen. A lot of people that are in the different Kyber Facebook groups, you know, whether it be the Batu Kyber Collectors group or the Kyber Council page that we created for all the crafters. You know, you see a lot of those guys that unfortunately have that same addiction that I have to these Kybers that you guys have made, you know, and you hit on it really good from what I heard you say, and that is that there's a Kyber for everyone, but not everyone wants every Kyber, and that's how it started for me. I went and built my first Savi saber. I wanted to check it out. I wanted to see what it was, and then I found a custom Kyber online, just stumbled across it from one of the other crafters and was like, wow, that is awesome looking. I love that. And I started researching more, and I started finding more from that crafter. Then I came across yours on Etsy, and all of a sudden I saw what you had out there, and you know, and then started, you know, reaching out and grabbing some of those, and then started talking to you about being, like, as far as I know now, the only person that's crafting that will still do custom designs, custom requests. And I know that's how the relationship, you know, friendship that you and I have gotten now was because of that, because of me reaching out to you, and then it went nuts from there.
And I got to paint some of those tonight, actually. I just made a few more of those. That reminds me.
Yeah, and JB says I need to make a specific Ryan Celli display for myself to be able to put up here to put all your stuff on. And then he also said that you know that's how the best ones are made. I guess referring to, you know, the a Kyber for every person, but not every person wants every Kyber. You know, and
that's why we do custom requests, because a lot of times you get ideas that, you know, I may not have thought of, or um, just it gives me a chance to think outside the box, because there's different techniques to pouring and making Kybers, and I don't like to be shoehorned into one technique or style. I like the ability to have many tools in my toolbox, and a
Mm.
lot of these customer requests push me in a lot of those regards. Because otherwise I could get lazy. So I appreciate customer requests, even though some of them, man, some of them are going to make me gray by the time I'm 40 here in a few more years.
Well, and I know you mentioned about the contest when we were on the phone
Oh,
earlier today
yeah.
talking. You've got a lot of custom requests that you're still working on from the contest, just because I know you're wanting to make these Kybers for everybody that's available, that have made a request, because you want to feel that that idea, and that, I don't want to really call it a fantasy, but that dream of having that Kyber that they designed and they came up with. And in your words, you told me before, you want to be able to provide that to them, and I know you've got a couple of them that are giving you a little bit of a headache, right?
Yeah, well, the winner of the contest, it's got like a lava look to it, and I've done, I think, probably 8 attempts on it now, and I just can't get it right. In my head, I have the final one I need. It's going to be a combination of 3 different styles and techniques I use, so this will be fun to try. But here are some of the attempts we've had. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but this would be one of the major ones.
Wow, that definitely looks interesting.
So that one's got a black core, some red glitter on the inside, and then a little bit of translucent orange that's sprinkled that gives it a green effect. And then I tried to get it more fiery effect. This was designed by Michael Hill, by the way. And Mike, when you get yours eventually, you'll be getting all of these crazy lead ups. So you'll have a whole collection here. Then I tried going with a little orange in there. A little too busy, but not busy enough in a sense.
Yeah.
Because the final one got way too busy on us here. This is one from Mike last week. This thing is just like, what's going on? Too much. So, I've got one final one we're going to do here, and I think we've got it figured out. I just got resupplied with chips this week, so once I get caught up a little bit more over the holiday break, we're going to be doing those custom ones, and that's going to be a limited run because these are going to be exceptionally difficult. So this will be a limited run eventually, too.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess until you really figure out how to make it and make a number of them to where it's one of those like second nature things for you. It's going to be very hard to duplicate some of those, because I know I've tried dabbling in making Kybers myself a little bit, with some of your help and everything, and man, just what I've tried to do, and the ideas that I had, and then trying to replicate what you see in your head, in your mind, and have it come out looking like that it's difficult. I mean,
Well,
I give props to you guys that are doing it.
it is hard to replicate. That's why one of the time, sometimes different batches come out differently, and as a maker, you have to look at them and decide, what is that line between what you're showing and what you're shipping. You know what I mean? A
Hmm.
lot of times, if it's significantly different for some reason, I'll usually, burn them down and start over. Honestly, I don't like when that happens. It's a pain in the ass. But hey, at least you can start over. You're only out some resin sometimes. Um,
Hmm.
but it can be, there are some that I won't do as a widespread one because it's lightning in a bottle. You do it once and you're like, whoa, how did that happen? I've tried dozens of times, can't do it. So some of them are
Wow.
like that.
Right. And I've seen some of the ones. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, um, I have one that you sent me that was a Tatooine. Was supposed to be a Tatooine, I believe, and didn't come out the way you liked it. And then that's when you ended up going to the other version of
Was that
it.
was that the green one? No,
It was like brown with silver. almost looked kind of like a Mandalorian design.
Oh, yeah, that was actually the Lost Temple of Gordoku's prototype, which is
Yeah, that's right.
which is a Kyber that required so much cutting and everything. We didn't continue with. Just it was a lot of difficult, intricate cuts on every facet of the Kyber, and it was using different bits, and it was getting to the point where it wasn't the safest Kyber to be making on a regular basis. So I decided probably to hold back a little bit on that one until we can retune it for
Gotcha.
relaunch it at some point, because that's one of my favorites that my daughter designed. We just need to make it a little bit more production friendly.
Gotcha. Well, let me see here. Make sure that my Kyber cam is actually cooperating with me today, and it looks like it is. Okay, good. So that way we can kind of go in here and take a look at some of the ones we're talking about here. With let me get some more light on my feed here. I'm gonna shut off my overhead light so I can kind of, there we go, get a little bit better lighting on my on the Kyber here, and we'll kick over here and let people see. This one here is the Founders Kyber that we were talking about. And unfortunately, I'm going to use the tongs because I know you guys don't want to see my fat fingers inside the video here. But this one here being one of them that that actually started out with sand in it. And it's got sand on the backside. And I don't think you can see it, Ryan, unfortunately, with the way I've got the feed set up. But for you guys that are looking at it, I mean, this is one of his designs that he made, and I've had this one for quite a while. This was, I think, the first attempt, honestly, that you made at the Skywalker, the Ray Kyber, I believe, maybe, because it was the first one that you did with the sand in it, if I remember right.
The first one was the Twin Sun in it. Those actually, there's 6 of them now, because I had to make one for someone who had all my other ones and needed to have that one. That was a happy accident. I was pouring excess resin from another one of my Kybers, 2 completely different colors, and it came out gold. When you mix them like that, it has that weird gold effect.
Yeah.
Which was not the intent at all. They were actually a conceptual test bore for the Fall of Anakin, which will be one of our Kybers here in the new year with sand in it. It's going to have red sand, is the plan, with blue and black swirls around the top of it, representing when he, Youngling Slayer 3000 practice run on the Tuskens. One of the great ones from the prequel that I don't care what people say, I love the prequels. And we're going to ride the prequels too as much as we can, because I love those.
I completely agree. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that think the prequels were terrible. They don't like them. But me personally, I like the prequels as well, just because of the fact that it gives you that backstory of Vader. You know, when before the prequels came out, for guys my age, older than you, the first thing that we get is, was just a view of Vader walking in, and the whole story being all about Luke. You never were able to find out, where did Vader come from? What happened? What's the deal? And then, in Empire, you find out, oh crap, it's his father. What in the world? Now what happened? It starts getting intriguing. And the prequels was able to give us that. Regardless of how anybody feels about the movies, whether, I've heard people say that they felt some of the acting was crappy, that they didn't like the way the stories were, or, some actors didn't have charisma or whatever and stuff. But if you look at it from a story standpoint, you're learning about Vader how he becomes Vader from Anakin, and I mean, I personally, just for me being a Star Wars fan that I am, I've loved all the movies, and I look at them, not just series wise, but individually as well, and sorry, going off on a rant on that there a little bit, but
no, I look at it a lot like because I'm also a big Star Trek fan. And it's a big thing in Star Trek, new Trek being so different and being so woke, even though the original one had the first generation Kiss TV, but the new Trek's the one that's pushing boundaries there with wokeness. It's the same thing though with Star Wars. People love the old stuff. Then something new comes out, oh, I don't like it. And then something new comes out, and they're like, oh, that was not bad. And then now it's like the prequels where everyone's like, oh no, I like the prequels. Like I have met more people that love the prequels all of a sudden, and I'm happy about it because we got to see the Clone Wars, and now we're getting the Ahsoka. Like, I mean, what more could you really want? Plus,
oh, I know.
see this guy in real life.
Maybe, you never know. It'd be awesome.
One of my friends who got me that. Big shout out. Thank you very much for that, by the way.
All right, I'm going to jump us back over into the two-screen chat here, so we can continue to talk, and I'm going to get us set up for looking at one of the other upcoming private reserve releases that you have coming up. And I know this one was listed as unknown or unknown name. There was no name specified to it. And I know I've asked you multiple times, what's the name of this thing? And you never give me an answer. So I know that you haven't come up with anything. But I really like the way this one looks. And that one being the white with the silver glitter on it. So, I'm going to show you so you can see which one I'm talking about. Whoops. Slip it out of my hand. But the white with the silver glitter in it. So that way you can see what I'm talking about. And now I'll let everybody see it up close on our Kyber camera. And hopefully the lighting is not going to be too awfully terrible here. I might have to back down the strength a little bit for you so it doesn't blast it out. But this one here it's a white. It's a completely white Kyber with like silver specks of glitter flake and some bigger chunks of glitter in it as well.
Yeah, that was a prototype test pour. We will be doing something similar, but without any of those colors.
Okay.
We have one coming out for Life Day. It'll be late, obviously. What can you do? It's going to be a Life Day one using that style glitter, more of a blue mix of it, and the glitter glows in the dark.
Oh, wow. That should be interesting. I know you've done some of the glow in the dark stuff a little bit here and there. And I'll tell you though, one of the ones that has really caught my eye, and I know it's caught a lot of people's eye, has been your color changing ones. Because that's something that nobody else has done. Nobody else has made something that color changes like that. I know there's a number of guys out there that have made some glow in the darks, but nothing color changing. And when you told me about the idea of doing the color changing Kybers, and I've got a number of them that I kind of showed a little bit during the unboxing when I got them, and just with everything going on with the holidays and stuff like that, I haven't been able to really get onto my my Kyber videos, which, trust me folks, those are going to be coming up here again right after the holidays. I'm going to get hot and heavy back on those, try to put out a couple a week if I can. But just the idea of something that literally will change colors, not just flipping the Kyber over and getting a different chip color on the blade, or a different voice, but literally changes color is just crazy. I love it.
Thanks. It's one of those ones that We weren't sure how it was going to come out, and it was very expensive endeavor to go on and experiment with, but it turned out well, thankfully. And it's one of those ones that, living in Maine, I just stepped over there behind my bookshelf to reach into my garage there to grab a soda because it's snow on the ground, and I can do that here. So it's hard to see these color changers work a lot of the times around me. I got to use a space heater to quickly test, make sure I'm sending the right one out. And I love hearing people get in parts of the country where it's warm, and it's always in its color-activated form. And seeing how people are using it in their cosplays, especially the Ahsoka one. I'm loving that. Seeing how people are going out and sitting there. I saw one girl, a lady sent me a photo of her holding it and then, doing that. Oh, just so much fun. And, that's the thing. I want them to be fun, and that's the thing. You can put these in your hands and play with them.
Yeah, definitely. And for anybody that's actually purchased any of them, if you want to know what I did, it makes it a lot easier to be able to see the color change, especially if you've got friends over that you want to kind of show them off to and stuff like I've done. Just get you a cup of hot water. I mean, I've taken some hot water in a coffee mug, put it in the microwave, heat it up to about 120 degrees, drop the bad boy in there, and it'll change fairly quickly. And I know I've hinted on that, I believe, in the Ahsoka Healed video that you're talking about, which is that one, actually. When you drop that one in the water, it will go completely white. And I know, like in the stock footage or stock pictures that you have on your Etsy page, you don't really see it go full white. It still has a hint of red in it, kind of a pinkish hue to it. You put this thing in hot water and let it sit there for a good 30 seconds or so, and it will go, this kind of drastic difference, red to white like that. It goes quick.
I took those photos in like August or September here in Maine, and that's what I was dealing with already. I could get to pink. I didn't realize I could get any whiter until I left. One of them, actually, by mistake, I left it in a little Rubbermaid bucket sitting next to my computer, and the computer vent was on it all night, so it was warm as heck when I came and found it in the morning. And I saw it, I was like, whoa! I didn't realize things could get so that pure white. I got to read the photos now. Yeah, it's tricky doing stuff like that in Maine. I have to cool them off or heat them up really quickly and hope it holds. That was mostly sun powered for that photo.
Well, with me, again, the hot water, and then if I want to change it back, I just drop it in a cup of cold water, and it'll change quick. But I will tell you guys, if you do pull it out of that cup of cold water too quickly, it will turn back. And it's not that you've messed it up. It's just the core of it has gotten so much warmer that you got to let it sit in that cup of water for a little bit longer so that the core will cool down as well. So let's see. Looking here, I know I'm going to butcher this name, and I am sorry, but I'm just going to say Ren, I think is the first name on it, because if I try to pronounce the rest of your last name, I'm going to destroy it, and I apologize. But made the comment when you were showing the contest winner, the lava Kyber on there, made the comment that it looks like Tiger's Eye. I guess the actual stone Tiger's Eye.
Yeah.
There, it kind of looked like that a little bit. Michael Hill says it sounds great and that they look great. Unfortunately, we've got such a delay, and I'm having to look over to a different screen to be able to see comments. So I'm going to try to be a little bit faster on these guys, so that way, when you make a comment, I can relay it back real quick during the conversation. But I believe, looking at the timestamp, JB also made a comment that he's gotten a few of your color changing ones as well, and that he likes those as well. So now you have one that just came out recently. that it's not color changing, but it's another in your series of sand infused. And I believe that one was your Sith Revealed. Is that correct?
Yes, I'm thinking about titling the line "I Hate Sand," because we're on Terror veteran who spent the better part of his 20s in a sandy place. I really don't like sand, and yet here we are somehow I'm playing with it. But yeah, that's our fourth one. Wow, yeah, third. One, two. Is that our third sand one?
I believe it's your third sand one. Yeah.
Yeah, third sand one. Yeah, because we've got the Rey Skywalker, we've got the Twin Sons, and then the Sith Revealed, which plays well because you're limited a lot of times. Either you go with the approach of what voices make sense, or you just make your own lore story. And with this one, it's a natural fit. Qui-Gon and Maul being available, and that being one of the most epic moments in Star Wars lore, when the Sith revealed themselves for the first time in battle for almost 1,000 years. Although
I've put it up on the screen for everybody to be able to see that one while you're talking about it. So sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh no, so that's a big one, and I love the coloration on it because it's kind of got a watermelon like type look to it, but it also makes the sand pop very well on it.
Yeah, and people that are looking at it here, our viewers that are watching, they can see in here the image, that I've got it on my Kyber cam. They can see there as I'm rotating it around how you do have that kind of watermelon look to it with the way that the contrast of the green and the red that's there. But then the sand and that sidage, it jumps out at you. It really jumps out at you hard. It stands out even more than the Rey Skywalker or the Twin Sons.
Yeah, the Rey Skywalker, I love that one, but the sand does get a little more buried in the blue. With the Twin Sons, it does good contrast. But with this one, you can see like more of the sand grain all around. It just feels different on that one. I love that way because that grain wasn't going to be my first choice, but I used the darker one initially, and it came so buried that you couldn't see anything. And I tried that one, and I just fell in love with it. That's the way things sometimes work out because I have thousands of colors to pick from, so I just kind of try and approach it with a freestyle mentality, which is weird because I'm never like that in my life. So I let my art be a little more like wheeling and dealing and see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, we're going to look at one last Kyber here that you've put out recently, and this one is part of that private reserve setup that you sent me. It's the one that glows in the dark a little bit. I don't remember.
Cave Redux.
Okay, yeah, the Tatooine Cave Redux. So we'll go ahead and throw this one up here for people to take a look at. Sorry, audio cut out on us. What'd you say there?
And that's a shout out to all the Apocalypse Now Redux fans. Yeah,
oh.
14-hour long.
So this is what this one looks like, and this is part of your private reserve. Now, how can people get into the private reserve option to be able to get these Kybers? Kind of give us an idea of that.
They're going to send me a message. It's a private channel we've got going right now. It's for people who are just looking to buy Kybers and are interested in seeing these when they pop up. Because the ones that don't sell through that channel, the extras, will eventually go somewhere to get sold. But this gives people the first opportunity, and like that one, the Dantooine one, that's all gone. I only had 5 of those. Yeah, 5.
Okay.
So those ones are different too. When I have to do something like that, that style is a lot more a pain in my butt. So
Gotcha.
Wasn't gonna do all that. But that one's
well.
great. That one's funny because it was supposed to be orange, and it glows blue instead. It's orange glow powder with blue glow powder, and you get blue and green.
Hmm.
Don't know how it is. If I tried to pour that again, it'd probably come out different colors. So, that's one of those ones where the Force willed it that way, and I'm like, all right, hey, that's cool. There you go. Because that was a custom order, so that guy got 2 of them, and then the other 5 are available for everyone else. Because I don't
Gotcha.
number them for the custom order. That person gets something separate.
Okay. Great, man. I tell you, like I said, you've got a substantial amount of Kybers that you've put out. I mean, a great selection of Kybers, and I look forward to to some of the new stuff you've got coming out. And so I'm going to ask you, what do you got coming down the pipe? Any kind of teasers for us?
Well, we mentioned the Fall of Anakin. We got the Ghostbusters Afterlife themed one, which will be fun. We're going to do it with the Slimer type theme. Well, we do have this one coming out. I don't know how well I can get on my camera, but it's similar to our Living Force that finished up, but this one has no glitter. This is a pure clear Kyber with a different inside coloring. It's red, green, blue, and this is a pure clear Kyber. So this is a kind of a first where you're going to see the actual definition and casting where you get pure clarity. There's no bubble. Oh, I'm going off camera here. There's no bubbles. There's no pocket. It's like this is going for craftsmanship with this one.
Okay.
And yeah, that one's half off now. No. And we're looking at doing that coming in here in the new year. And that was probably going to be a single chip option where people can do it a la carte how they want. Open edition. And, give people that chance to get something unique looking. But it's different enough when you see it next to the Living Force. The Living Force definitely is a special one that I'm sad is done, but I hope everyone enjoys. And this would be a good similar type option, but not nearly the same thing. It doesn't have anywhere near as much flair as that one did. So people who bought it don't feel anything bad. But this one gives people an option. That's why the single chip thing too. It differentiates it enough in that perspective to give it a different kind of vibe to it.
Gotcha. Cool deal, man. I love it.
Oh, I'm going to be posting a bunch of these. Made a while back. They are 16 Kyber displays. I got a whole stack of them. We made them way back when we thought this was going to be a direction we'd go with something. We ended up not doing it. You can paint them. This one I spray painted, so it looks like it's covered in ice. Simple enough to do. We're going to be posting those pretty cheap. They hold 16 Kybers, and I think we're going to do them probably for like $20 each, just to get them out the door. Working on a few new containment type ideas. And my son is working on some artist renderings that he wants to put on the site, like one-of-a-kind drawings based on our Kybers. So something like that we're going to be having up there.
Cool deal. Well, I've asked for anybody that has any questions to put them up on the post or on the comment section. So I'm going to wait and see if anybody has any questions other than the stuff that I've already asked. And I mean, I may have asked a lot of what others are wanting to ask you. So if I've asked your question, I apologize. I'm just trying to make sure and get as much information as we can, with the time that we have here to talk with Ryan. So we'll give it a few minutes here and see if any questions come up.
Well, in the meantime, anyone watching, as a thank you for tuning in and watching, use the code KYBERXMAS, so KYBERXMAS, on my Etsy store. That'll give you, I think it was 20% off anything I have listed in my store. So anyone who watched this video, that's good for 2 weeks. Enjoy that coupon. Thank you for your viewers.
And I'll put that in the comments there for people to be able to see that, if they come in and view the video. And I will upload this onto my YouTube channel as well. So it'll be on there for easy access for on-demand viewing, and I'll add that in the comments in there for anybody that goes in there and watches it.
That means my son's gonna watch this. I hope he approves of how I've done so far.
All right. Well, Robert Young has asked, is there any word on the other contest crystals?
Yeah. Robert Young's was another one that had some pretty high votes on it. That one I've done a little bit of experimenting with, but honestly, I want to get the other one done first. It's one of those things where for the contest ones, I'm trying to get one done first, and then I'm going to move on to that one. I have a few good ideas on it. A specialty material I plan to try out for that one soon. But that's one of those things I really want to get the first one done, and then we'll move on to that. The contest had a lot of great winners, or great entries, I should say. Definitely a lot of challenging approaches. But we're going to get to each one here as time allows, like I said. So look for that soon, sir. I will get to it, don't worry.
Yeah, I know that coming up with a way to make somebody's idea a reality, and having to figure it out. I mean, it's got to be difficult to do. I mean, just when because you're having to come up with different techniques and new ways of combining things and doing this and that and finding new materials and stuff to be able to figure out how to make that as close to the idea that they sent you as possible, right?
Yeah, and it gets hard because you don't want to take someone's idea and turn out a soup sandwich. That's the last thing you really want to do to someone, especially when they're looking at one of these great ideas that they've had, and a lot of them are really great. There's a lot of them that didn't win. I was so happy that didn't win because I had no idea what I was going to do. But at the same time, the ones that did win here are definitely pushing me. I think we're pretty close on this first one. I really think that once we slow down here and are restocked, that I think I've got this thing down, and I'm excited to finally get it done. That's
Gotcha.
For sure.
So, Robert, yours will come eventually. It takes time to be able to figure out how to make it to the quality that I know Ryan would be willing to spend his own hard-earned money on, and it come out to look the way that you would want it to look. So just give it some time. Some of I've seen the pictures, and many of us have seen the pictures of the ideas that you guys have come up with, and I mean, some of the ones out there, I looked at it and went, I don't even have a clue how you're going to come up with a way to make that look the way it looked on the design, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see.
It's fun to have a challenge.
So Michael Hill has asked, do you have any advice for guys that are starting out to try to make Kybers? And I kind of know some of what you're going to say here because you've kind of given me some of that information already myself when I tried to make some. Which I still have mine sitting over here to the side that I don't think I'm ever gonna put out there for anybody, just because it's difficult. I know it is.
It is. The advice I would give would be start display type Kybers. That's what I did for the first couple months. When you get into the RFDI chips, you're dealing with a whole different ball game. Resourcing that out of China. Shipping and cost are prohibitive from doing small batches. So that's making a big leap, a big financial commitment if you're going that route early on. I recommend watching videos because, you got to make molds. YouTube's pretty good. I recommend going with brands, watching YouTube videos and using the materials that you're seeing them use. Like, zero or not bubble free. I think they say bubble free is what they'll say on like silicone material, but they're never bubble free. But something that has less in it. I recommend going that kind of route for people, especially for beginners. It's great to use something like that.
Yes, because I know when I started trying to do it, I got some of, and I think this was your recommendation, is the Let's Resin silicone rubber. That's a two-part A and B, and anybody that's looking, these work really well with me. And I know when I made some of my molds, and I did mine a little bit different. My molds kind of look like hockey pucks that are tapered on the sides. And I started out, with the hole in the middle for, where they actually do the pouring at. And they came up with a little bit of different design. I know I've kind of given that information to you a little bit of a way to make it to where the pour spouts are a little easier to work with on there. Just because me being a perfectionist that I am, I don't want to have to sit there and take the time to sand or grind them down. And I know you've come up with a very good way of doing that as well. So, anybody that...
My proprietary little secrets here, but some of the big things I can recommend is, like that's a good type of silicone to use. Silicone isn't cheap. That's one of the hardest parts when you're getting into making if you want to make Kybers, Michael, excuse me. My dad was Michael and he hated being called Mike. That's one of the biggest cost issues right up front is going to be the silicone. So you want to make sure when you're doing it, you're not wasting it all at one attempt. You're doing it in small attempts, 1 or 2 molds at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want bubbles all up in your molds, making it pock marks everywhere. You also don't want you don't want to have all sorts of issues coming up with, what's the word I'm looking for? Distortion on your mold. Because there's like different styles and different techniques. You can do one pour, 2 pour part. There's a lot of great ways to do it. I recommend YouTube though, and good, healthy silicone. Amazon, whatever you do not buy silicone at like Hobby Lobby. If you want to go get Lumalite casting resin at Hobby Lobby, all day long, go for it. But don't get your silicone there.
Gotcha.
Turn off my notifications.
Matt Berg is asked, do you have any non-Kyber crystals projects on the horizon? Things that you're going to be coming up with that's not related specifically to making Kybers?
Yeah, a couple things we've worked on. I've been working on. My son is doing the art thing, like I mentioned. He's also working on a few designs in 3D design work he's done really good at. One of them that we're going to be pushing a little bit more, I think, is a exposed savvy switch that I can resin print. I'm not looking to get into all sorts of savvy parts, just like one style functional piece that's adjacent to Kybers, but different. So we're looking to have one that has an exposed chamber, so you can see your favorite KRC Kyber in your savvy saber when you go to the park, or insert a great sales pitch here.
Give me just a second here.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think we have anything else non-Kyber related coming up. I'm not going after any. I'm not doing saber stands or anything like that. All my sabers are sitting here beautifully, still in their boxes, until I get my wall up and going.
Sorry, I was checking with my wife because it says somebody's trying to access my Amazon. I'm just trying to see if she was doing it. So, anyway, let's see. JB Hemphill, let's see. Oh, he was making references to Michael Hill asking about Kybers. Robert Young says he likes that exposed switch idea. And I know you and I have talked about the exposed switch a little bit because I actually started dabbling also 3D printing wise, and I know you guys can see my dog just jumped up here. He wants to get attention. Um, I started dabbling a little bit as well in making stuff for the Savis. I printed out my own Switch design here that I'm actually using and designing to do. Possibly, I don't know if I'll offer it on my Etsy page or not, but possibly to try to make a Qui-Gon Jinn version that will be compatible with a Savi's chassis. I've made the Switch, and so far I've made the emitter, but unfortunately because the Savi's chassis are so big, the thing is going to be massive.
Yeah, that's
so
I'm because I printed one. There's a free source file out there of an exposed chamber that someone made, and I kind of wanted to see how well it looked as a test run before we delved so much time into it. So I printed it, and that's the first thing I noticed with all these Savvy parts. You know, they have to be so big to be compatible around it. I mean, God, the metal ones, it's a wonder how small they are in comparison now, because in order to fit around all those things. Because the one we use is like a box-shaped window, the freeform one, and we're looking at
right.
slash, cut open a look to use on ours.
Well, just to kind of give people an idea, I mean, this is, you know, the elemental nature emitter size that you've got there, and you can see, I mean, it's pretty daggum big. The one that I printed out here, that's the Qui-Gon, so it's going to be pretty big. But I mean, that's definitely something that that anybody who has 3D printers can look out there and see about the possibility of making some of your own stuff if you decide to. If not, I mean, there are, you know, guys like Ryan, and then of course myself and others that, you know, are dabbling in trying to come up with some designs like that. You know, it's just you're very limited on what you can do because of the chassis.
Saber parts, you know, because I know some great makers out there who do that too. You know, and that's one of those areas that, you know, if someone else is like doing a lot of it, I try and stay outside of it unless it's something like specific that I'm going to do that benefits my type shit. Excuse me.
Yeah.
My stuff, because, you know, there's a lot of stuff you can do out there, and I don't like it when people try and just go for the cheap buck. You know, go for the I found this file on Thingiverse, so I'm just going to start printing a million of them. You know, that type of approach that you see a lot of out there nowadays, and
yeah,
you know, that's just, it gets old. No one wants to see the same old. You got to innovate. And I've had a few things that we've done, that we've designed, that I loved, that I thought were going to be great. But because someone I know who works back in the maker field came back into the picture, you know, it was going to be a conflicting type of item. We'll shelve it. Because, you know, as much fun as all of this is, you know, making sales and everything, I made a lot of good friends. And I've made some really good friends. And that's, you know, that's important stuff to me. And I'm going to not ruin a good friendship over one product, which, hell, for all I know, it wouldn't even sell, you know, but it's step on someone's toes hard enough to upset them. You know, who wants to do that? I see enough of that out there with other makers. So I'm happy to avoid that.
Well, and you saying that, I mean, that's a big reason why, one of the biggest reasons I didn't get into making Kybers myself, and just prefer to collect them, is because, you know, you and I have become friends. You know, some of the other crafters I've met face to face. You know, I talked to them a lot. You know, being that I've made the pages that I've made, the YouTube, the Facebook group with all the crafters on, you know, and getting as many that I have, not a problem. Getting as many that I have and trying to put it all in one place for people to be able to go to and see what all's out there. I've made some good friends like yourself, And that's not something that I want to jeopardize either by going in and starting to make Kybers myself, because I mean I've seen it. We've all seen, we've all heard the stories of one crafter starts making something and then somebody's like, oh, I want to start making that too, and then all of a sudden people are getting accused of ripping off other people's ideas, and it destroys friendships. It makes animosity amongst people, and it's terrible.
And I think I seen that too in a lot of the groups. I think a problem with that comes is a lot of people who do it just aren't genuine. They're like, oh, like if someone wants to learn how to make Kybers, I'm happy to help them learn how to make Kybers. Like, I bet Michael Hill and oh God, I just had a brain fart. Robert Young, because I know they were talking about trying it together. I bet they could come up with some great ideas. I mean, both of those have sick ideas. It's about learning in the styles of how you do it. Getting your molds down is the biggest part. I can recommend. After that, go have fun with whatever medium you use to dye it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who make them out there, and it's not for everyone. Some people want to make it for fun. Some people, like myself, sell a few more Kybers than that. So thankfully, and we're very appreciative of it. But I figure the way I look at it nowadays is I let the quality of my product speak for itself. You put me up against any other Kyber you find. If you find a better Kyber, let me know so I can improve mine. I'm happy. I like having competition out there, especially good competition. And it's like baseball. You only get better as the young kids come up through the minor leagues and challenge the old. So bring it on. I love that kind of stuff. I'm really excited too to see what some of the makers are doing out there. Some of the original makers with their 3D printers. That's where my bread and butter was years ago, and I've kind of geared back from it as much. But there's a lot of people like Matt Berg. He does some great displays or modular. I love ideas like that because my design skills are far below that ability, like to do modular type connections and everything.
Yeah.
I love seeing that kind of stuff out there. Your wall stands that you do are pretty sick. I love the Darksaber one. I think you're about ready to get that one live, aren't you, at some point?
I'm trying to get the hooks right. Yeah, I have not been able to get the hooks the way I want them, to where they'll hold and they won't break, and it's a quality that I would be willing to spend my money on.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. I don't want to put something out there for somebody to buy that I would not be willing to spend my own money on. And I mean, it's like, and I'm not trying to plug myself by any means. You brought it up. It's like when I started making my display chassis. One of the biggest the issues I had was breaking. There were issues with it breaking in certain areas that didn't have enough support. And I've revised this design probably 4 or 5 times now, because I thought I had it right. Everything looked like it was going good. I'd ship some out. I'd have people buying them. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I would get somebody to say, hey, I had this problem. What can we do about it? And I'd have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what it was that was wrong. What caused that issue? Was it material problem? Was it settings on my printer problem? Is it design flaw? And figuring out ways to not really reinvent, but to improve, re-innovate the design to make it more sturdy, more stable, and something that people would want to spend their money on. And I know on my Etsy page right now I have it on holiday, just because I've got so much going on during between Thanksgiving and after the New Year, that I don't have enough time to put into doing all of it. Plus, I broke one of my printers, so I'm waiting on parts to come in from China to fix it. Yeah, I didn't tell you about that. I'll tell you about that later on. But I've done a redesign again that will make it even sturdier than it was before, and also make it easier for me printing wise to where I can get them out faster. And I know that's one of the big things with you and your Kybers that I've seen is I don't know of anybody else. And I mean, we're talking about a lot of different crafters out there, you know, and I'm going to throw some names out there, but I mean, you got yourself, you got I Am Geek Shop, Tinker's Cove, House Kybers, Crafted Core. You've got a number of different guys out there that are putting out a lot of products. And a lot of them are really good products. Some of them aren't as good as others, but there's some really great stuff going out. But one of the biggest things, and I've seen over the last 6 or 8 months, and I hate to say it, but it seemed like a lot of it happened after the video, my first video that I made, and when comparing all of you guys together, and it's you put an order in for your stuff, and it's on its way usually within a week or so. You know, where there are other crafters out there that, you know, they would start out, they would sell it, and then it would be months before you'd get them. Because they were selling before they had them available to go out. You know, and I know that's something you and I talked about that was a big thing is you don't sell anything until you've got a product that you know is going to sell and you make enough to send out when orders are made.
No, and and that's something that we pride ourselves on as getting our orders out. Right now, for Holiday Rush, we're down to about a 2-week ship time from order sometimes, which I hate. We're trying to get back down to about a week. I think there was, and that was initially because there was a big crafter out there who that was, you know, a known issue. That people would give them grief about, but it was something a lot of other crafters were doing too. I mean, I was seeing that across the board on a lot of different crafters. You know, and it's different ways to do it. It's different mentalities. If you're making them as like a pre-order system, if that's the way you've got it, that's your business model. You know, for me, I want to have everything on hand. I don't like Kickstarter an idea. You know, if I make it, I'm in. You know, I've got 25 or so poured, ready to go. If they don't sell, okay, they don't sell. I'll sit on them, you know. But no one knows that but me, really, what moves and what doesn't. So that's one of the, like, you know, I have to be ready to go at all times. And things can change at drop of a hat. Kybers that, you know, I haven't sold one of in 2 months. I sell 10 of in a week, you know, and I'm back to pouring quickly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it comes down to the flexibility of being able to pour every day. You know, I work right here at my house. I got my kids helping me. We're set up now. We're building our second pressure pot up, so we can do 2 pours a day. So that'll help kind of catch us up to the level where we want to be at. Response time with shipping. And that way we can get back to innovating a little bit more too, because, you know, production of whatever we're at, 30-something Kyber offerings, requires a lot of build-up. So we're happy that we can do that and cut them down like that. Also, you mentioned a lot of the other makers. I want to recommend everyone go check out Tinker's Cove when they get a chance. Corey's a great guy. He helped me out tremendously when I was starting out. And that guy does some innovation that just blows my mind. Stuff I had on the drawing board, and he's out there killing it, like the magnet necklace one. That's a functional Kyber that can detach from a necklace. If you have it.
I actually have, let's see, this little case right here above my finger. Yeah, I actually have both of them from him.
Like that, amazing. Because I had something like that on the drawing board, and then that comes out, and it's like, well, you know, I'm not even going to attempt it because he did such a good job. Like, you're impressed as a maker and as a friend and annoyed at the same time because, you know, there's always those ones where you're like, oh, I could probably do it better. And you see and you're like, nope.
Yeah. Well, and I do want to say one thing. I do want to say this because I'm hoping that if any of the other crafters are watching this or go back and watch this via on demand later on, when I was making the comments about that stuff, about the shipping times and stuff, and making and dropping names of other crafters out there, I'm not bashing anybody by any means whatsoever. You know, so if you guys are watching this, I hope you didn't take it that way. what I have seen is a drastic improvement of the business models from all of the crafters.
And no one should be offended by it. It is what it is. It's a business model. That's what everyone out here is doing. We're all businesses. We're all trying different approaches, and we all have different, things that we do, different ways that we approach the customer base. And what works for some people might work for them, and it won't work for others. As we've seen, there have been flash in the pan little makers out there that come out, done one or two things, and then they're gone. A lot of times it's something very similar to try and go off someone else. There are going to be followers of everything, and it works for people. And, I'm happy for them. It's just not something I wanted to do. I wanted to have a different option out there. And that's why we're not really do limited edition. Outside of that one we did, mostly because I hate glitter, but here we are going to do more glitter anyway. So, it works great for them, and I'm happy for them and everything. But it's just different business models. I mean, hell,
yeah.
The Schwann's model versus the Amazon model.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and kind of going back to what we had talked about earlier, with the fact that you made the comment that you have everything readily available. There's some crafters out there that, and honestly, the majority of the crafters out there, besides yourself and I think just maybe one or two others, pretty much they have limited numbers on everything that they put out. And what I have seen happen, and I know you've hit on this before, is somebody new comes into it, and they go and build their saber the first time. They just get into making Kybers, tomorrow, and or you're not making, but purchasing Kybers. They find out that there's customs out there, for the first time, and you've got all these ones that are out there, and unfortunately, a lot of people, collectors, and people that have bought them, they want really high prices, real high premiums to be able to get some of those, and I mean, let's face it, a lot of them out there, I know that there's ones that only make 30 or 35. There's some that make 50. There's some that make 100. There's some that make 200. I know one of the other big crafters out there, he makes a lot of limited run number ones, and to try to find any of his, the prices are ridiculous, unfortunately. And I know you made the comment earlier when we were on the phone, you wanted to make it to where it stays affordable for the newcomers to Kyber collecting.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, that's one of our other differentiating points, I think, that's made us very successful so far, is our price points. We keep them pretty cheap. Right now at the parks, it's what, $17.99 or $18.99 for a Kyber?
$17.99, yeah.
$17.99. You get one of our
so $18 plus tax. It's $20 with tax.
So $20 with tax. That's for two Kybers, $40. You get a double chip Kyber for me for $30. So we find value that way. When a lot of other people are raising their prices, I've noticed across the board, a lot of people are going up because materials have gone up. I'm not unaffected by that either. But at the same time, I'm okay with the margins where they are and keeping our prices low. I'd rather sell 1,000, make a little bit off each, and have people enjoy it. And it's working out well for us. I'm very happy with where we're at. I like the model, too, of when someone goes and builds a Kyber, a lot of times, say they're a casual fan. I don't know what they want. They went down there, they didn't buy enough Kybers. They look online, and they say, oh, hey, I can get a white and yellow. I can get a red and green, or I can do, the Lost Kyber. I'm going to have a few more options for customization coming up on some of the Kybers. I think we're going to allow for more of that for people to pick what they want because, they see a Kyber they like, and, I get a lot of questions all the time. Oh, can I get this one with these voices? Yeah, I don't care what voices you have. Just put a note and I'll reprogram it. Like, I could care less. Like, I'm not an elitist or a gatekeeper on my art, where it has to be this or that. don't rewrite it at home because I don't know what your writer is, and I won't vouch for that. Other than that, I'm happy to make things catered to people. Because, everyone should feel special. Everyone should enjoy these things. Even if it's just one Kyber you own that's custom, I want that to, really make an impact. Be special and not be something to look at and go, wow, what did I waste my money on, Because we get people all the time who are, who are not all the time. I get a couple messages a month probably from someone who has a problem or isn't happy or something. I do whatever it takes to fix it. Usually it's because they have the stock batteries in their Savvy Saber from the build. Yeah, that doesn't work well, but that's one thing. No one leaves unhappy of ours. We make that a key sticking point too. Make sure everyone's satisfied with their purchases.
Gotcha, and that's great to hear. Lost video for a second.
Oh, sorry.
There you are. So I mean that's great to hear that anybody has any issues with their Kybers or any products with you, you're going to be able to get with Ryan, and he's going to do what he can to make you happy, customer satisfaction. So Ricky Yu, and I'm hoping I said it right, says, do you ever worry about the custom Kyber crystal market getting too flooded, giving a steady pace of Savvy Saber owners?
Not really. There's always going to be people who are coming in and making new Kybers and everything. The big thing that early on, I think, set us aside from other people was the quality. There's a big jump when we started doing a few different things out there that actually encouraged other makers to use similar techniques. And like I said, competition breeds innovation. Unless you're Elon Musk, then it just scares you, I guess. I don't know. But, I'm happy to see people go out there and make custom ones. Some different strokes for different folks. I'm very happy with where we are. I'm very happy with what we're doing, and I'm not worried at all based on what I've seen out there, just because the response has been so good to ours. And there's other makers out there who are going to do stuff way different than us, and I love that. Like I was mentioning with Tinker's Code, they're more like a craft beer, a very select thing. They do smaller runs, and they do some amazing work, like amazing innovations. Mirror Cave one, their elemental ones. Pretty sure those were limited edition, but I've got both the original and the second version they did. And those were amazing. They were the first people to put grass in a Kyber. I mean, my God, it's gorgeous. I asked Corey's permission before I did my sand one because it was something similar he'd done with rocks. Like, he's an amazing maker. You guys make sure you're checking them out. Tinker's Code.
Yeah, and I've met Corey. Matter of fact, I was there when he proposed to Sarah, so that was awesome to be there for that. I actually took video for him and sent it to him, so that was awesome. Corey has made some excellent Kybers. Like you said, his Mirror Cave Kyber is great. Was it the Cramp Pearl, or how's it? The Pearl Kybers.
I mean, his Pearl Kyber. And see, that's the thing. Like, I've got no problem. If someone out there does great work, I'm very happy to, share it all around because.
Yeah, I mean, I've got since you're talking about him, I'm just going to throw it up there. Definitely check him out because these are the Pearl Kybers that he makes, just to show you, this is some of the different innovations from different crafters. The magnetic ones you were talking about, these are the two designs of the magnetic ones that he made. There are some crafters out there, and you guys can see, all the stuff I have up there. There's a lot of different designs and concepts and ideas that you guys have come up with that just makes it. There's a large variety out there. So, I don't know that it'll ever get completely flooded, I mean, yeah, granted, there's only going to be so many color combinations and designs you can do for voices because we only have a limited amount of voices to work with. But I mean,
Holocron
I
2
think it.
one day.
Yeah, well, we'll hope for that. We'll hope for that. Um, but I mean, it's to the point now where I don't even think really. It's not even so much the voices anymore, or the color of the blades that. I mean, for myself, I'm not even worried about those. I can tell you wholeheartedly that I guarantee you that the majority of the Kybers I have up on display have never touched my Savi Saber. I've bought them because of the design and the way they look, and the only reason that they even that even show up. Oh, hold up, my son just got home, so my dogs are barking. The only reason that I even know what colors that they have on them or what voices they have is from looking on your sites and stuff. On yours and Crafted and Tinker's Cove and those guys. You know, I don't know what voices are on them, or what color blades they put out until I do the videos, and that's when most of them are going to show up as far as that.
And that's where the visual aspect on a lot of these come into play, and that's why I'm happy with where we are and what we bring to the table, because we're not putting out the same thing over and over. We're changing it up. There's variations on different looks. We have very diametrically different designs, from the Living Force Kyber to the Dantooine Kyber Cave. Those are very opposite, completely opposite ways of making Kybers, and yet they both are visually two of my favorites we've ever done. I'm very biased in favor of that Dantooine Kyber Cave, much as I hate making them. I'd love to see them. I actually need to do another run of those tomorrow. Yeah, but that's one of the things, because as long as you're having fun and doing it, that's when it stops being fun. People stop doing it is when it stops being fun. But I love Star Wars. I love doing it with my kids. I love having fun doing this, and it's great. And plus, I think I have every Savvy Saber I can have now. So yeah.
I'm looking here, and we're getting some comments. I see that Lilith has shown up on here. I guess she's gotten some of Corey's stuff over there as well. Ricky commented back as well, saying that he really feels that the Savi Saber owners would buy more custom Kyber crystals if only they could display them in their Saber via a transparent switch cover, which I think that's what you mentioned is having that you're working on is a switch cover. And Ricky may not have been on at the time or may not have heard that. But I know that that's something that you mentioned that you're working on as a possible option for your Etsy store, right?
Yep, just a switch with a exposed one, because there are files out there for you to make your own, but we're working on a design like a battle damaged one with a slashed open back, so you can see the Kyber exposed. Yeah, it's one of those things we're working on. I haven't done a lot of Saber parts in resin, so I'm still learning on there.
Sorry, my son, like I said, just got home a few minutes ago, so I'm trying to get them not to talk so loud in the background. But yeah, I mean, even Lilith said, let's start modding some holocrons and shove some more voices in there to see what we can do. We're actually hoping that at some point Disney will come out with a version 2.0, like Ryan said, that would add some additional voices possibly that we could do.
I mean, the problem is with modding the holocrons, and then because I worked with a group of makers and we looked at possibly doing it at one point. The problem is you have to get into SEC regulation because it's reading stuff, and it has to be registered and all that kind of stuff, and it just gets to be a nightmare. One low rent option I looked at not too long ago was the old comm chips from the episode 1 figure line. They came with that giant Jedi comm reader that each figure had a chip. You put the chip on there and it would do voices from it. It's like a pre-RFDI technology. And I'd like to incorporate that in somehow, as those can be used. So far, it hasn't bear any fruit, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll be able to figure out how to hack it, because those readers are out there in quite abundance. So if a banker out there can do that, hey, go for it. I'll gladly help. But it gets difficult. We're hoping for a Holocron 2.0. I've heard rumblings potentially. So.
Yeah, I know that was one of the rumors that whenever they had all disappeared from Galaxy's Edge for a while, that the 2.0 versions might show up. So
I think after the Star Cruiser opens up is the time to start expecting different updates and stuff that we might start saying.
Yeah, mentioning Star Cruiser, I'm definitely disappointed in the fact that we're hearing that the real lightsaber that they come out with isn't going to be available for anybody to actually purchase. For the amount of money that they're spending, I think that should be handed out to just about every person that's going to be on that or that attends that thing. But I guess it is what it is. So
it is what it is. I'm not going back to the park till I can hug a Wookiee. So as soon as I can hug a Wookiee,
I got to go up there and give Chewie a hug, huh?
Hey, I asked what my chances of a lifetime ban were last time. They said pretty high, so I passed. But man, I want to hug that Wookiee one day.
Yeah. Well, I know if they start letting them walk around again and doing that stuff. We lost you again for a second.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Hopefully they'll start doing that stuff. I know they've got characters out again, so maybe they'll allow that to happen here soon. So, so I know we've been on here for almost an hour and a half now, I believe. So yeah, we've been on here for quite a while at this point. And I know, like you said, your battery's starting to go low, and I've got family looking at me wondering how much longer I'm going to be. So with that, I want to thank Ryan for joining us tonight and just having a nice sit down and chat.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. I look forward to the next one that we do when you have some more stuff to bring to us and say, hey, I've got this new thing coming up. Hopefully we'll get some more live releases like we did with the Living Force and Drain Force Kybers. I'm really hoping to be able to do some more of those with you. I want to thank everybody that showed up: Lilith, Robert, Ricky, Michael, JB, all you guys that and girls that showed up here to chat with us a little bit tonight. I know Ryan appreciates that, and I know he appreciates you guys being so enthusiastic of his creations that he's put out there. What was that?
I was just saying thank you to someone.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, yeah, because of Chop back there in the back, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lilith threw that up there, put a Chop with an exclamation point on there. I guess you can see it back there in the background. JB said he's had a blast, and that we definitely need to do this stuff more often. So I'm kind of looking back there in the background, and I'm seeing I guess that's a 3D printed Cal Kestis, because I know for a fact that's not in the park yet.
No, this is like one of when we went to the park the first time. I made them for me and my kids. I made them each one. I made myself this one. It fell out, but I had two of them, and they had rare earth magnets, so it was like a Darth Maul staff, and I could just break it apart and throw it back together. The problem is those rare earth magnets were so strong, like if your finger was in between there, it would snap it off. So like,
woo,
back off the idea a little bit. I never got back to retuning it, but it was great on paper. Great plan, poor execution.
Yeah, sometimes the best plans just don't turn out the way you want them to. So.
No.
All right, so we will we'll definitely see if we can't do something else with you here after the beginning of the year. So I will say to you, thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody that has come on to talk with us. I know I've already said it already, but thanks again for showing up. I appreciate you. Wow, you have an earthquake up there?
No, I was just trying to fix my light here. I noticed a few dots on it, and I was like, have I been staring at it too long, or are those blemishes?
Oh. Anyway, we'll look at trying to do something else after the holidays. Hopefully the next release comes around. We'll be able to do a live stream release for that. So
yeah, real soon on these Michael Hill inspired nightmares that he's put on me. But
Well, we look forward to seeing what the final outcome is for that. So, again, thanks for showing up. Thank you, Ryan, and we'll look forward to the next one. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to everybody out there. And as always, may the Force be with you.